Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel for probably one of the most requested Project Zomboid videos that I've had to date. All the time in my comments section I get asked about the mods I'm using, which ones I recommend, so in this video I'm going to show you guys some of the mods that I use that I think work for any playthrough. If you find the video useful, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps keep the channel going, so I really do appreciate it. I also stream on Twitch on weekends, so drop the channel a follow and come watch me play some Zomboid live. Right, so the first thing that I gotta mention before we get into this is that these mods are built to be inserted into any playthrough to enhance the vanilla experience. That means no crazy overhaul mods or anything like that. These will be ones that make sense for most playthroughs without any crazy overpowered mechanics or additions. I'll also mention that all of the mods I go over in this video are part of a mod pack that I've put together, which is also linked in the description of this video, so you can download all of these for yourself nice and easily. So perhaps the most prominent mod I want to feature in this video is the expanded helicopter events mod. If you've ever felt like the helicopter event that is part of Project Zomboid by default needed a bit more variety or is starting to get a little boring, this is the mod for you. Just make sure that you disable the standard helicopter events if you plan to use this mod, otherwise it can create some issues. This mod adds jets that fly overhead, pulling the zombies in a certain direction, fully voiced police and military helicopters that can shoot at zombies, progressively start shooting at you as well. They can drop crates full of supplies and even crash land in harsh conditions, leaving you with a lot of loot to get. The nice thing about this mod is that the events aren't focused around the player, but still affect your surroundings and give you a nice dose of variety in the events that you can expect to occur. So moving to the next couple of mods in my selection, I'm going to look at the mods that add some cosmetic value to the game. If you're like me and you love to be able to customize your character, the biggest one of these mods is the fashion montage mod. Essentially, this mod adds a whole host of extra customization options to the character creation screen, which pulls in all of the other cosmetic items mods that you've applied to your playthrough as well as its own. This allows you to set up your character just as you want to when starting out, whether that's full military gear or a freshly pressed suit. To go with this mod, I use Poor Low Loot, which adds a whole host of cosmetics, military rigs and pouches, vests, masks, and some incredibly rare protective armor as well. It's worth mentioning this mod does also add some firearms to the mix. The only other cosmetic mod I use with my standard playthroughs are Shark's Law Enforcement Overhaul and Shark and Peach's Military Uniforms Improvements. I just find these add a lot of nice cosmetic changes and additions to some otherwise fairly basic uniform options. It's well worth using if you're looking to dress up your character or just be a bit more immersed in the experience. Alright, so we've had the helicopter events and we've had some clothing items and customizations to add to your playthroughs. Now it's time to look at vehicles and items. When it comes to vehicles, I really don't think there's a better mod out there than the Filibusters Used Cars mod. It's full of vehicles that fit perfectly into a vanilla playthrough, adding some variety to the types of cars you can expect to find in Project Zomboid. Pair this up with the vehicle scenes mod, which makes vehicles spawn in locations that make sense, like a school bus outside of a school or a dump truck at a construction site, and you'll be all set. No crazy armored vehicles or anything like that, just lots more variety to choose from. Now, all of these vehicles are going to be better for different things. Some will be louder, but have more storage, for example. Others will be quieter and perhaps faster, with smaller storage capacity. So give them all a try and see which one works best for your current collection. Moving on from vehicles, we've got weaponry. Now, when it comes to melee weapons, I know there's a lot of mods out there that add a lot of craftable weaponry or some kick-ass melee weapons with lots of flair, but for a vanilla style playthrough, I'd always recommend Bushcraft gear. There are actually two Bushcraft mods. The first one being Bushcraft Tools adds 6 new weapons: the hand hatchet, the splitting axe, cheap survival knife, kukri machete, and rancher machete. I find these weapons fit nicely into any playthrough and each have their benefits, and they also don't last an incredibly long amount of time before breaking either, so they're not too overpowered. They slot right in without any issues. Now the second Bushcraft gear mod, Rare Weapons, adds the Reinforced Bat and Viking Axe. The Reinforced Bat is twice as heavy as a katana, has shorter range, and is slower than the katana is. For that, however, you get a higher durability weapon. The Viking Axe sits somewhere in the middle ground between the katana and the Reinforced Bat. I want to stress that these two weapons are incredibly rare, and I barely find them in my playthroughs, so again, it is relatively balanced. Finally, with regards to weapons, we've got the Firearms mod. As I mentioned earlier, Poor Low Loot adds a selection to the game, but I do also tend to use the Firearms mod to spice things up a little bit. It keeps things simple and generally follows the style style of Project Zomboid's default weaponry. There's nothing really in there that wouldn't make sense for the setting. Now, I know a lot of people are a big fan of the Britta's mods, and whilst they are fantastic for the gun enthusiast, it's really not suited to a vanilla playstyle, in my opinion, and tends to spawn a hell of a lot of weapons and ammo that just isn't realistic at all. There's also a bunch of weapons in there that wouldn't really be found in most places where Project Zomboid is based. These things combined just make firearms a much more vanilla friendly option to me personally. It's also worth noting that with this mod you can find suppressors, albeit they aren't very common, and craft your own suppressors from bottles or flashlights. They won't last very long and won't reduce sound quite as much as a proper suppressor will, but still, it's a nice option to have. You can also activate Firearms B41 Silencer Easy Mode if you want these to be even more effective than they are by default. The Firearms mod also brings in ammo canisters that can be used to sort your ammo accordingly, and some attachments for weapons that have 3D models such as slings, recoil pads, and bipods. The last mod that I'm going to touch on in this video is the Authentic Z mod from Peach. This also pairs up perfectly with the Fashion Montage mod. Essentially, this one will make changes to zombie distribution and add several types of new customized zombies to the game. Let's say you're approaching a police station. You're going to see a lot more zombies dressed in police uniforms, for example. There's hazmat zombies, ghillie suit zombies at the secret base location, student and varsity zombies, which are more often found around schools, and that's just naming a few. My favorite feature about this mod though is the zombie hit list that you can find. To my knowledge, there are 2 of these hit lists, giving you a plethora of unique zombies to look out for. Grab a pen, the nearest weapon you have, and get hunting. It works great for some endgame content and can keep you busy for a good while you're hunting them down. You can find your favorite characters from games like Resident Evil or Left 4 Dead, and many, many more. This mod really does make the world feel a bit more immersive and adds some fun along the way too. So that's it from me in this one. I just want to mention before I head out that I do also have a video available on modded maps that are worth a try, so I'll link that on the end screen of this video if you want to check that out as well. And once again, all of the mods I talk about in this video are part of the mod collection I have linked in the description, including a few more as well. Special shout out to my patrons for supporting the channel and keeping my videos flowing. If you want to support the channel and my content, it's absolutely the best way to do so, so I'll leave a link for that in the description as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.